Hello everyone, welcome to another amazing video. If you enjoy the content, I ask that you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming parts and new videos. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's video. Are you ready? Let's go.
The display of Lin Yuan's battle to convince the public in his favor is intense. People in the crowd shout that they are also very interested in how he did it, but Zhao Shan responds threateningly, saying that he is sorry but cannot agree to this request according to the regulations of the Palace of the Soul. The examiner is prohibited from disclosing information about the candidates, except in special cases. In response to this, Wu Moxuan smiles slightly and says that since the fight video cannot be published, there is another way to verify the authenticity of the results. Zhao Shan orders him to speak. Wu Moxuan immediately exclaims that they should be allowed to have a duel. If Lin Yuan wins, he will prove the accuracy of the assessment, but if he loses, it will be enough to prove that his score was obtained by dishonest means. The crowd begins to cheer that Wu Moxuan will humiliate Lin Yuan. Hearing this, Sumu angrily exclaims how repugnant Wu Moxuan is, doing whatever he wants to humiliate Lin Yuan. However, Lin Yuan gestures for her to calm down and says that it's okay. Long, discontented, observes that Wu Moxuan's thoughts are obvious. He wants to take the chance to fight Lin Yuan and then prove to everyone that he is a loser. But Lin Yuan looks closely at Wu Moxuan and responds that this is very timely. Wu Moxuan turns to the examiner Zhao Shan and clarifies that it is not prohibited to challenge soul beasts on the palace grounds. This is confirmed as true, but it is also necessary to find out the opponent's opinion. At this moment, those around are wondering if Lin Yuan will accept the challenge. Someone responds that the situation is so tense that he has no other choice. If he refuses to accept the challenge, everyone will consider him a cheater. Wu Moxuan smiles slightly and asks if Lin Yuan dares to fight him. Sumu stands beside Lin Yuan and tells him that if he's not sure, he can refuse. But Lin Yuan explains that if someone provokes, then it's useless to tolerate. The only way to make him fear is to break his bones. With these words, he raises his hand and says he agrees to the fight. The crowd hears and is perplexed. He accepted the challenge. An S-ranked beast soul will fight against an E-ranked soul. This has never happened before. However, the level difference is so great that Lin Yuan will be defeated. But he is the first person in the city to pass the 10 levels of the beast test. The outcome of the battle is difficult to predict. Zhao Shan also explains that, to be honest, he believes that this fight is unnecessary. They are both the pride of Zhenhai City, holding the first and third places. There is no need to fight to the death over such a trivial matter, since he has already said that he was able to personally verify that Lin Yuan did not cheat during the exam process. Wu Moxuan hears this and angrily wonders why both are helping Lin Yuan. He wonders why he is so special that they cover for him. He then shouts to Lin Yuan that if that's the case, then he should fight him. It would be great if Examiner Zhao Shan witnessed this battle. He will show how he will tear him to pieces. Zhao Shan announces that in this case, the fight will take place in the Beast Soul Palace arena. Anyone who wants to watch can come. After some time, the Beast Soul Palace arena was filled with spectators. Zhao Shan announces that if both sides are ready, they can start the fight. But first, they need to explain the rules. This battle is just a practice. They can give it their all but cannot kill. The battle will end as soon as one side admits defeat. It is forbidden to use any foreign objects during the fight. If any rules are broken, it will be considered a defeat. All clear. Wu Moxuan and Lin Yuan, staring intensely into each other's eyes, simultaneously respond, yes. Then Zhao Shan says okay then, and declares the battle started. Wu Moxuan immediately turns to Lin Yuan and says that he must understand that everything that happens is his fault, but Lin Yuan also responds that he didn't expect him to make such a fuss to avoid the terms of the bet. If he simply begs for mercy, he will consider sparing him from his lunch with inferior crystals, he mentally adds. After all, if she gives them to Wu Moxuan, it will be a waste. Immediately after the start of the fight, Wu Moxuan shouts for Lin Yuan to die and uses the beast soul fusion. He immediately transforms into a large skeletal lizard. The audience exclaims, in perplexity, "What kind of monster is this, the reptilian skeleton king?" Yes, it's all 5 meters tall, so What is an S-ranked soul, truly? Visible talent to the naked eye, he really is a third-place genius. At this moment, Wu Moxuan tries to hit Lin Yuan with his tail, but he jumps and avoids the blow. Wu Moxuan wonders if this idiot is afraid to merge with a beast soul. The crowd also wonders why Lin Yuan doesn't transform, and if he can really defeat an S-ranked soul, and if that means he didn't cheat. Sumu watches from the side and thinks that Lin Yuan's beast soul is just a small E-ranked lizard, although it's not clear how he passed the 10 levels of the test, but if Wu Moxuan dares to hurt him and Zhao Shan doesn't stop him, she will. Long is also by her side and turns to her saying, although she can't hear him, that she shouldn't worry, Lin Yuan won't lose to this guy. At this moment, Lin Yuan smiles slightly and says that since Wu Moxuan is hoping for him to merge with the beast soul, then he will satisfy his wish. After that, he begins to merge with the animal soul. He rises into the air and is surrounded by bright rays of light. In the next moment, a large black lizard appears in his place, which turns out to be larger than Wu Moxuan. The audience sees this and can't believe it. It's an E-ranked beast soul. They go crazy. The reptilian skeleton king is also perplexed. This is impossible. This is an E-ranked soul. How can it have grown so fast? The black lizard looks down and asks what happened to Wu Moxuan's beast soul. Then, it raises its paw and asks who said an E-ranked soul should be weaker than an S-ranked one. Immediately after these words, it attacks. The reptilian skeleton. King sees this and dodges the blow at the last moment, thinking indignantly that if he had been touched by the claw, he would have become crippled. Lin Yuan has the strength of a beast soul general, at the minimum, but it's impossible to rise to such a level in just a few days. He won't have time to dodge. He sees the paw of the black lizard moving towards him and exclaims horrified that it can't be. How he, the reptilian skeleton king, can lose to a E-ranked idiot. Then, he tries to swing his tail, but the black lizard responds mockingly that Wu Moxuan didn't expect him to dare to fight back. Lin Yuan then grabs the tail of the reptilian skeleton king. He starts screaming in horror, asking what Lin Yuan is going to do. The black lizard asks what he thinks, and with these words it begins to swing him from side to side. Loud sounds of impacts are heard, stones clash around. Wu Moxuan sees Lin Yuan showing his claws, and the crowd screams desperately that Lin Yuan defeated Wu Moxuan. Is this his true power? After all, Examiner Zhao Shan wasn't protecting Lin Yuan, he was trying to protect Wu Moxuan. Sumu also looks at this in surprise, thinking that although she knew Lin Yuan is not weak, the E-ranked beast soul is incredible. At this moment, the reptilian skeleton king screams impossible for his S-ranked beast soul to be weaker than an E-ranked one. Suddenly, a strong black lizard grabs him. Lin Yuan announces that Wu Moxuan has lost. He crawls to the side and shouts, "Who said that?" then opens his mouth, and there is a small red pill on his tongue. Then he abruptly closes his mouth and bites it to pieces. Zhao Shan sees this and realizes it's a blood capsule. Long appears next to the black lizard and announces that Wu Moxuan just took a pill that allows him to increase his level in a short period. His strength would rise from the level of an 8-star battle beast to a 3-star beast general. However, after taking such medication, recovery will take a month. He's crazy, wants to defeat him at all costs. Lin Yuan also adds that he's just a clown, but suddenly Zhao Shan grabs the microphone and loudly announces that Wu Moxuan is declared the loser for violating the rules of the fight. He then continues to observe what's happening and realizes that Wu Moxuan is even more useless than he imagined. The black lizard prepares to attack, and Zhao Shan wonders if Lin Yuan will continue the fight with Wu Moxuan even after he took the blood pill. Suddenly, the reptilian skeleton king opens its mouth wide and shouts that it will kill Lin Yuan, but Lin Yuan just stares at him. The reptilian skeleton king wonders why he is so calm, as it's obvious that he is now stronger than him. But suddenly, he sees that the black lizard opened its mouth wide and wonders what kind of power this is. There's no turning back for him. Lin Yuan must die. At this exact moment, a great brightness appears from the black lizard, which begins to hit Wu Moxuan. This bright ball turns into a long beam of light that sends him straight into the wall. He reverts to being human and falls to the ground. Zhao Shan shouts, officially announcing that Lin Yuan won this battle. Furthermore, Wu Moxuan took illegal pills during the fight to artificially increase his strength. Then, he asks if anyone objects to the assessment of student Lin Yuan. The crowd exclaims angrily. It can't be that Wu Moxuan couldn't win even with the help of pills. Lin Yuan is very strong. What blind person evaluated his E-ranked beast soul as a talent of E rank? They have seen a person of E rank defeat an S rank. At that moment, Zhao Shan approaches Wu Moxuan, grabs his hand, and asks one of the examiners to take him to the infirmary. The injuries are not fatal, but the side effects after taking the medicine are enough to keep him in bed for a few months. The examiner responds briefly that he understands everything, so 2 men accompany Wu Moxuan, sadly noting that now no reputable university seems to accept him. The other adds, "As you make your bed, so must you lie in it." At this moment, Zhao Shan approaches Lin Yuan and congratulates him on winning the duel. Lin Yuan immediately thanks him, but Zhao Shan asks what he is thanking for. Lin Yuan explains that he gave him the opportunity to test his skill on Wu Moxuan. He also thinks that Zhao Shan should have stopped him in time but didn't. Then, Zhao Shan bows in his direction, puts his hand on his shoulder and says that, in fact, he is not only the head of the examiners, but also a member of the admissions committee of the University of Animals in Modu. Does he want to join them? Lin Yuan asks again. What? At that moment, Zhou Hyong is next to him and explains that the animal universities of Yanning and Modu are the most prestigious. Only the best of the best go there. So, Lin Yuan asks with a satisfied smile. If Professor Zhao Shan is recruiting people for his benefit, and he is the best in the city. Zhao Shan hears this and worriedly wonders if this guy is even normal. He's doing a favor for the university. The first thing he thought was what advantages the university would give him. Lin Yuan says that a first-class educational institution should be able to offer certain conditions. Zhao Shan responds with a smile that, of course, if he wants to enroll with them, then he can apply for a full payment, including 500,000 coins, 20 high-quality beast soul crystals, 5 high-quality beast soul capsules, and a general ranking beast soul sword. Lin Yuan hears this and begins to reflect. 20 high-quality crystals cost 200,000 coins, and 5 beast soul capsules cost 250,000 coins. Long flips a coin and tells him to think twice. Zhao Shan then adds that this is the best offer the university can give him, and he and the university leadership are sincere in their intentions. But suddenly, someone shouts that Zhao Shan is shameless. A sturdy man approaches them and angrily asks if the recruitment campaign hasn't even started yet, and he has already lured this guy to his academy. Lin Yuan looks closely and wonders who this is, speaking in such a tone with Zhao Shan. It turns out to be Cheng Yu from the University of Animal Yanjing. Zhao Shan closes his eyes and asks him not to say anything stupid. Young talents cannot go to any university except his. But Cheng Yu vehemently shouts, then turns to Lin Yuan and exclaims, not to be deceived. Their university is in many ways superior to the University of Modu. If he goes there, he will receive 500,000 coins, 40 high-quality beast soul crystals, and 10 beast soul capsules. Lin Yuan exclaims in surprise. As expected from Yanjing University, they are really rich. Then, a boy from the audience says that's how geniuses are treated. 2 popular universities not only compete for students, but also offer resources. One of the spectators also tells the other that if he passes all 10 levels of the exam, he can also enjoy such honors. At this moment, Zhao Shan partially merges with the beast soul and shouts how Cheng Yu dares to recruit the student right in front of him. But Cheng Yu, who also partially merges with his beast soul, exclaims who he is trying to scare. At some point, a confrontation begins between them. Lin Yuan thinks surprised that this is the energy of Lord-ranked beast soul powers. Then, he prepares to fight, but suddenly someone asks what mess the two have made. At this moment, a person with a sloth beast soul approaches them, and Cheng Yu's and Zhao Shan's beast souls immediately disappear. Lin Yuan looks carefully at the man and is surprised. He suppressed the auras of the furious great bear and the ghostly tiger. Could this man's strength be greater than that of Zhao Shan and Cheng Yu? The man approaches and gently says that Lin Yuan should go to Sichuan Animal University. They will give him 300,000 coins, 50 high-quality beast soul crystals, and 10 beast soul capsules. This man's name is Ding Lu. He is from Sichuan Animal University. He adds that Lin Yuan will receive 20 high-quality crystals every semester until he graduates. He also won't lie by saying that they spare no effort in talent development. Lin Yuan listens attentively and thinks how Sichuan University is so rich. Then there are people around him who also persistently ask why he doesn't consider their university. They can offer him such conditions. Another person insists that Lin Yuan needs to choose their university. Someone also holds up a piece of paper and shouts that he needs to go to their university. Last year, they ranked 8th. Lin Yuan smiles awkwardly and thinks that although everyone wants to accept him, it's clearly to use him as free publicity. Cheng Yu then orders them to stop making noise and asks Lin Yuan what he thinks. Lin Yuan bows and says that he is grateful to everyone, but regrets that, besides Yanjing Animal University and Modu Animal University, he doesn't consider other organizations. Ding Lu adds that if he changes his mind, he can go to him anytime. Lin Yuan also responds that if something happens, he will contact him. Zhao Shan and Cheng Yu menacingly order him to answer whom he will choose, but Lin Yuan waves his hand and responds that, before the start of the admission campaign, he will give an answer. Zhao Shan humbly replies that he will wait. Cheng Yu exclaims with a smile to think carefully. Lin Yuan again responds that he understands everything. After that, Zhao Shan and Cheng Yu leave Lin Yuan. Zhao Shan is indignant and exclaims that he stole Lin Yuan from him, but Cheng Yu immediately tells him that he is shameless. He was the one who took Lin Yuan away. Then Zhao Shan asks if he wants to fight. Cheng Yu also responds decisively that he can. He's not afraid of him. Gradually, they move away, and Lin Yuan no longer understands what they are talking about. Long congratulates joyfully. The system has just ranked his beast soul as a general rank. A silver chest has been obtained. Lin Yuan must quickly open it and see what's inside. This is his first silver chest. Lin Yuan sighs and looks into the distance. At that moment, Sumu runs up to him and exclaims that Lin Yuan is amazing. Now he is the #1 in the city, and popular universities are fighting for him. So what will he choose? After all, he achieved everything through talent and grades. He asks her which academy she would choose. She replies that she is considering Yanjing Academy and Modu Academy. She asks if he doesn't want to go where she goes. Lin Yuan replies that it would be nice. They could take care of each other, but he still needs to think about it. Sumu adds that objectively, Yanjing University is stronger, but she will choose Modu University. Lin Yuan asks why. Sumu looks away and replies that there are people in Yanjing whom she doesn't want to see. Lin Yuan realizes that she feels uncomfortable talking about it and decides not to continue the conversation. After some time, Lin Yuan is at home, sitting near the bed, holding an open chest in his hands. At that moment, Long swiftly flies from one shoulder to the other and exclaims, 10,000 evolution points and also a general class weapon, the Flame Claw. When attacking an enemy, fire appears on its claws, causing extra damage. Lin Yuan looks at it and notes that it's not bad. Hearing this, Long crosses its arms and indignantly asks what not bad means. This is a very cool weapon. Weapons are divided into War Beast, Beast General, Beast Master, Lord and Emperor rankings. A weapon at his level costs hundreds of thousands of coins. Lin Yuan is very surprised. It's so expensive. Long explains that it's still cheap. Anything above the Beastmaster rank can reach a value of tens of millions of coins. If they're lucky, they might acquire one in the future. Long says that he needs to rise to the Lord rank as soon as possible. Suddenly, Long asks him what he thinks about the universities. Lin Yuan asks what information he has. Long immediately responds that Yanjing University trains strong masters, and Modu University has strong masters as well. Besides, he thinks Lin Yuan will like it there. Lin Yuan asks why. Long says that they prioritize military matters above all. Everything is based on strength. They have created 3 special rankings: Dragon rankings, Beast King rankings, and Beast God rankings. All resources are distributed according to the ranking. If Yanjing University is a comfortable bed for strong masters, then Modu University might be a ruthless coliseum. Lin Yuan immediately asks why a coliseum. He then wonders if one person would ultimately be more valuable than millions of people, so why couldn't he be that person? He then exclaims that he is choosing Modu Animal University. After some time, Chung Yu bursts into Zhao Shan's office with a loud cry. Zhao Shan smiles sweetly and asks him what he needs. Lin Yuan has already applied to their school, and he has no chance. In response, Chung Yu angrily replies that he shouldn't boast. He respects his choice and asks if Sumu also joined them. He asks. The news reached him very quickly, and Zhao Shan asked if he knew her. Chung Yu also responds furiously that he knows more than just her. When she arrives at the university, he must take care of her. He should also remember that he warned him. Her background is complex. At that moment, Zhao Shan remembers when Lin Yuan and Sumu were sitting in front of him, and Lin Yuan asked when he could receive the scholarship. Clarified, usually after enrolling in the course, but he can apply for it in advance, and will be able to receive the scholarship soon. He then points to Sumu and asks about her, if she also needs to apply in advance. She responds displeased that it's not necessary. Zhao Shan thinks that indeed, she seems to have better financial conditions than Lin Yuan. Chung Yu responds that he cannot disclose all the details, he just has to take care of her. 3 days later, Lin Yuan is in front of the Beast Soul Palace and tells Long that he didn't expect the scholarship to arrive so quickly, along with subsidies of 500,000 coins, 20 high-quality crystals, 5 Beast Soul capsules, and a general-class Blackthorn armor. Long responds that this equipment makes his scales harder, and at the same time, his spine will be covered with thorns protecting him from injuries. It seems that the university still values his abilities a lot. Lin Yuan smiles and thinks that it's not the equipment that matters, but the 500,000 coin subsidy. With this money, he can get 5,000 low-quality crystals and 5 million evolution points. When he goes to exchange coins for crystals, the man menacingly asks if he wants to exchange money for low-quality crystals again. How much does he need this time? Lin Yuan replies that he will buy 5,000 low-grade soul crystals. The man is surprised and asks, "What?" But after some time, the loader shouts to the car driver, fully loaded with bags, that everything has been loaded. Lin Yuan, sitting in the car, waves to the man and thanks him. The man politely responds that there's no need for gratitude. When Lin Yuan leaves, the vendor wonders why he bought so much. Is he going to feed it to the pigs? After some time, Lin Yuan sits in front of his bed surrounded by bags of low-quality crystals and becomes indignant. It was inconvenient to tell the driver the address of the secret warehouse, so he brought everything home. He wonders how long it will take to absorb everything while maintaining a fusion. Long suggests that he stay at home and absorb them in human form. Lin Yuan immediately asks if that's possible and questions if he doesn't need to merge with the beast soul to absorb the crystal energy. Long explains that normally that's how it happens, but he has a system that can be used to absorb the crystal in human form. Lin Yuan asks immediately why he didn't say that before. Long explains that the absorption rate will be a bit slower, but compared to the huge energy spent on maintaining the beast form, this is the best option. Then Lin Yuan sits on the bed, focuses, and starts absorbing the energy from the crystals. Moments later, Long happily congratulates him. He successfully absorbed the nuclear radiation and received 1,000 evolution points. Lin Yuan begins to think. It took 15 minutes, a bit slower than during the transformation. He needs to speed up to absorb all 5,000 pieces. On average, that's 48 pieces per day. As night falls, Lin Yuan continues to sit on the bed and absorb the energy from the crystals. Long cheerfully announces that his body underwent a mutation in the process of absorbing nuclear radiation and is now able to resist it. Lin Yuan asks, "What does that change?" Long explains that with this ability, he fears no concentration of nuclear radiation. Lin Yuan then understands that to destroy monsters, nuclear weapons were used in many areas, and now his body will not be affected by those polluted restricted areas. Wonderful. There are still 2 months ahead. He must swallow all the crystals and increase his strength as quickly as possible. Long responds with a smile that it's good. After some time, a meeting was held in the conference hall of Modu Animal University. Director Wang Ting sat at the head of the table and said that everyone had worked hard in the past few days. Currently, the student recruitment at their university has been successfully completed. The freshmen this year are even more outstanding than in previous years, and not only their university but also other prestigious institutions had incredible talents and geniuses at their disposal. However, the process of waiting for them to grow is really costly. If he has to wait until then, he fears he will already be retired. Then he stood up and continued, saying that he had discussed with directors from other universities the issue that concerned him and decided to hold a national freshman competition to find out which of these talents is the true beast. In the conference room of Modu University, many people began to discuss whether it would be a good idea to hold a competition for talents from different universities to come together and compete against each other. A good opportunity to show the students that there is always someone of greater magnitude, but the freshmen shouldn't waste time on this, right? Wang Ting said that, in fact, everything had already been decided. Everyone can participate, and he hopes they provide him with a list. One of the staff members turned to the director and asked how many people should be registered. He replied that there should be about 12 people, 10 starters, and 2 reserves. In his opinion, it's better to choose according to the ranking, as there is nothing superfluous about it. According to one of the 3 lists, incoming students can also challenge, but if they follow the dragon ranking list, there may be omissions, as it only determines real combat ability. This is what happened with Songlan, the champion of Modu. His beast soul, the multicolored glass butterfly, is of the auxiliary type. Although he has reached the level of a 7-star beast general, if he were to fight alone, he would be at a disadvantage. Perhaps he wouldn't make it to the top 10 of the dragon list. This means that Songlan is weak. If he joined a fellow 9-star general class beast soul, his abilities could rival those of a beast king. The man raised his hand again, stood up from his seat, and spoke to the director. That he understands what he means. He uses the dragon ranking as a guide, but doesn't adhere to it completely. After all, there may be double battles in the competition, right? Director Wang Ting said that is correct. This is the first national competition, and will be broadcast nationwide, so he hopes everyone will give their best and strive to surpass others. The staff understood the instructions and said that everything would be done. A staff member approaches Zhao Shan and asks if he is very happy with the new students this time, and requests to take a look at them. He took the tablet from Zhao Shan's hands and said with an enthusiastic look that this young woman named Sumu is great. Wait, because they are recruiting rank E talents, Zhao Shan asked to look further down. He scrolled a bit and suddenly shouted with incredible surprise, "Student Lin Yuan, Beast Soul, Black Lizard, rank E talent, level 10 in the exam results. How is that possible?" Zhao Shan responded that if he hadn't been the examiner, he would never have believed it because this was Lin Yuan's first participation in the test. The man asked, "What's so special about him?" Zhao Shan replied by asking if he could be a genius and is looking forward to seeing his strength after training. Meanwhile, outside, night had already fallen, and a bright purple light was shining through Lin Yuan's apartment window. He was still sitting on the bed. In human terms, like a monk, he cultivated, not moving for an entire month in the process of absorbing nuclear radiation. He mastered the S-rank nuclear breathing skill. Lin Yuan inquired about nuclear breathing. Long replied that breathing nuclear energy can emit light particles with nuclear radiation, and the infrared rays can reach 550,000 degrees. Long asks if he wants to spend 1,000,000 evolution points on training. Lin Yuan responded confidently that, of course, it's profitable to exchange 1,000,000 evolution points for an S-rank skill. Long shouted that he had successfully acquired the top-level nuclear breathing skill. In this month, he absorbed 2,500 crystals. Now he has 1.5 million evolution points left. Lin Yuan told him that, as he can see, the monk's practice paid off. He suggests seeing how much these evolution points can improve his level. Let him spend 500,000 evolution points to increase his size. For a monster, size is the most important thing. Long replied that it's okay. After that, Lin Yuan asked to increase the hardness of scale armor by 200,000 points, the sharpness of claws by 200,000, and the power of the nuclear reactor by 300,000 points. He should increase them. At that moment, a system window appeared in front of him. He examined it carefully and Long shouted to him that he is now the leader among Beast General level masters. A little more, and he would become a king. Lin Yuan replied that he thought 1.5 million points would help him reach the king level at once. But in the end, He managed to jump from 3 stars to 7. Maybe he's just being too ambitious. Long responded, pointing to the bags, that he still had 2,500 crystals remaining. If he absorbed them all, he could get at least 2.5 million evolution points. Lin Yuan doesn't know if this number of points is enough for him to advance to the king level at once. He didn't expect that from the general level. His cultivation would be in the millions. The higher the level, the more points are needed. Long said that even if that doesn't work, then high-quality crystals and capsules can be sold and replaced with low-quality crystals. Lin Yuan raised his hand and shouted, "Yes, the goal before school starts is the King Beast rank." A month later, at the train platform, Lin Yuan holds a ticket in his hand. Someone shouts to him, "Lin Yuan!" It was Sumu, who waved to him and approached with a suitcase, walking with Zhao Shan. He asked Professor Zhao Shan why he was there. He replied with a smile that he had returned home for business and was just picking them up to take them to the university. They should get on. Lin Yuan replied that it's okay. After a while, they boarded the train, and Sumu asked what he had been doing for the past 2 months. He didn't reply to any messages. Lin Yuan replied that all this time he was practicing, couldn't talk to anyone. She must have trained too. She replied that, of course, she not only reached the general rank, but also achieved 3 stars. She told him that 2 months ago, he was a 3-star general, and now he is strengthened, so no matter how hard she tries, she would be unable to catch up with him. Lin Yuan replied that she is already very strong, and her level has increased significantly. At that moment, Zhao Shan informed them that they had arrived at the right place. He opened the doors, and they entered a room with all amenities, which surprised Sumu. Lin Yuan thought about it upon entering. Regular seats on this train cost more than 100,000, and Professor Zhao Shan has a separate room just for him. A Lord-class master is treated specially. Zhao Shan said that if everything goes well, they will reach the university at night. Lin Yuan asked what he means by, "if everything goes well." He replied with a serious look that fights between monsters could occur along the way. They call it the beast tide. Accidents mainly happen when 100 beasts or several Lord-class monsters attack the train. Sometimes even King-class monsters are caught. Lin Yuan replied that it sounded very dangerous. Sumu turned around surprised and became cautious with those words. Zhao Shan continued to say that they shouldn't worry. The probability of them appearing is extremely low. Anyway, if that happens, he will try to stop them so that they and the people on the train can escape. Even against an Emperor-class level, he can resist for 5 minutes. Lin Yuan was alert and thought that with Zhao Shan's strength, he can only hold an Emperor-class monster for 5 minutes. This seems to be much more terrifying than he imagined. At that moment, some loud noises occurred on the train. A man entered their carriage and shouted to Zhao Shan that 10 kilometers away, the radar detected that a beast tide was approaching them at high speed. He then continued to speak with a trembling voice, fearing that in 10 minutes they would collide with the train. He was very scared and grabbed Zhao Shan's clothes with all his strength. Zhao Shan asked about the size of the beast tide. He replied that there were 3 beast kings, more than 50 generals, and about 300 war beasts. The other 2 beast soul masters ran to meet them. Zhao Shan turned to the boys and asked if they wanted to go together, because the threat was small, and they could consider it as a real combat model before starting training. Lin Yan replied yes, and Sumu said she would go too. The train abruptly stopped, and Zhao Shan and his students got off. Zhao Shan asked Lin Yuan, pointing to the side, if he could pilot one. He replied that it shouldn't be a big problem. Sumu said she had never seen anything like it. Zhao Shan said it was okay. She would go with Lin Yuan and they should follow him. He grabbed the shiny transport and ran ahead. Lin Yuan said he just left quickly, leaving them behind. How irresponsible. He got on an equally long vehicle that looked like a motorcycle and asked Sumu to get on with him. She climbed on and asked Lin Yuan if he really knew how to pilot it. He said no, but he didn't think it was difficult. He would learn as they went. After that, he sharply pressed the accelerator and they raced towards the destination at an incredible speed. He thought, as he continued driving, that it was almost like riding a motorcycle. After a while, they caught up with Zhao Shan in a desert area, and Lin Yuan asked Professor Zhao Shan if there should be a wave of beasts ahead. He said he would warn them before entering battle that if they encountered a beast beyond their strength, they needed to get away as much as possible and not waste time. These were not training fights, their safety came first. Merging with the beast's soul, with this shout, he ran towards the monsters growling. Lin Yuan looked at Zhao Shan's transformation into a huge and roaring beast bear, which other wolves began to surround. Lin Yuan and Sumu stayed alert and watched what was happening attentively. The monster's entire body lit up with a bright light, and he used the Earth Claw spell. Then, he pounded the ground with his fist, creating several cracks in the path for the wolves. After that, the ground began to split, and the wolves fell into the huge fissure that appeared, and a moment later, the gap closed again. Lin Yuan thought, surprised, that he split the ground. If the Beast Soul Master is capable of this, then the Emperor rank would be able to easily destroy mountains. The wolves ran towards them, Sumu used the fusion spell and transformed, and Lin Yuan did the same. They turned into monsters and started fighting against the attacking wolves, using their abilities. Sumu unleashed an ice wave at one of the wolves, and Lin Yuan destroyed the enemy with his sharp claws. After that, one of the monsters approached Lin Yuan from behind. Sumu turned quickly and realized this. She shouted for him to run and sent many ice shards towards the monster, but these shards collided against the creature's incredible defense, and the monster continued to approach. It's all useless, she thought. He used the Red Flame Claw spell and sent his powers towards the approaching monster. The creature was bleeding and was thrown back with a bang. Sumu watched what was happening and thought, this porcupine, at least in the last phase of the general rank, and he defeated it with a single blow. How strong is he now? The train continued to travel at high speed. One of the crew members asked the commander to take a look and inquired if the detection radar was malfunctioning. The commander asked, surprised, "Is it out of order?" "But how is that possible?" the guy asked. "Aren't the purple points supposed to be the Beast Kings?" The commander shouted for him to wait, because something was wrong. There were only 3 kings, so where did the 4th point come from? After his words, it disappeared from the radar, and he said it seems like this is a Beast King that can hide its presence. They should report this immediately to the Soul Masters on the front line. At that moment, one of the masters on the front line had already been destroyed by another monster whose paws were covered in blood. It leaned towards the master, after which the man's blood appeared in the creature's mouth. Sumu asked Lin Yuan how many general-class beasts they had killed. He replied that he didn't know, and suggested it was about 12. At that moment, a kind of magical light appeared behind her, creating a vortex. She turned quickly and became very alert. A dark purple light was approaching her. It was a monster that roared loudly at her and approached with bright red eyes. Sumu looked at it with fear and was stunned, but at that moment, Lin Yuan shouted for her to close her eyes or else the blood would enter. At that moment, he attacked the approaching monster and skillfully destroyed it. The creature's entire blood spread in a scarlet flow, and the monster fell to the ground. Long reported that this beast master is classified as the best in stealth. Lin Yuan replied that it seems they were misinformed, as there is another king-class monster. Sumu asked him, perplexed, and he said he was facing the monster rising from the ground, and said this was a cowardly mutt that only knew how to hide. He would bark back at it. At that moment, the monster disappeared from their eyes, and they started to turn around. Sumu asked Lin Yuan to be careful because it could appear anywhere. At that moment, the monster appeared directly above Lin Yuan's transformed body, which quickly attacked with its back spikes. Lin Yuan turned and asked if it had decided to scratch its back. At that moment, he pierced its right paw directly, and much blood was shed from the monster, making it roar in pain. After that, he was stunned to realize that Lin Yuan had grabbed him with his hands and asked a question. Now it's his turn. He smiled and began to crush the monster in his hands. The monster was scared but couldn't move. Lin Yuan opened his mouth and shouted to experience his nuclear breath. A bright blue light lit up in his mouth, and he directed that flame directly into his opponent's mouth. After that, everything around shone brightly, and many flashes occurred. Sumu stood by watching what was happening. Also nearby was Zhao Shan, who was very surprised and stunned. Lin Yuan transformed back into his human form. picked up the purple crystal from the ground, and wondered how much the core of the king-class Beastmaster could be sold for. Zhao Shan approached him, asking in surprise how he killed it. Lin Yuan asked if he hadn't seen it. Zhao Shan asked him to be honest about what level his strength is now. He replied, looking away, that he had just broken through to the 1-star king-class rank. Zhao Shan opened his mouth in shock and asked how he achieved this during the test. He was a 3-star general. How did he grow so much in 2 months? He whispered in his ear. Professor, he has a secret. Just don't tell anyone. In fact, he can absorb nuclear radiation from lower soul crystals. At that moment, Sumu ran up to him and asked with a scared expression if he was okay. He waved his hand and said calmly that he was fine. She thanked him and said that if he hadn't done that, it would have been the end for her. He replied that, in fact, she is very strong. She was just scared and lost her composure. Zhao Shan told her that, after all, it was the first time she faced such a situation, and it's normal for a person to get nervous. She turned to the professor and said that Lin Yuan is right. Unexpected situations on the battlefield can happen at any time. She must try harder not to disappoint her comrades. After that, she and Lin Yuan smiled at each other. Zhao Shan looked at them and thought they were truly extraordinary. At sunset, the train continued its journey. Zhao Shan entered the boys' room and saw Sumu lying on the bed and Lin Yuan looking out the window. He thought he didn't expect that this guy could absorb nuclear radiation as energy. He is a true genius among all Beast Soul Masters, as the director said, an exceptional talent. He approached Lin Yuan and said he had collected loot in that safe badge when he was at the Beast Soul Palace. He would sell everything and give the money to him. Lin Yuan asked about the storage icon. He replied that yes, he had never used one like that. He could request the same, but for 10 cubic meters of space, he would have to pay $1 million. With that money, he should buy lower-grade crystals and could borrow the emblem if needed. Lin Yuan took the badge in his hands and thanked him for telling him about it. This thing could be useful for him, so he would consider buying it in the future. Zhao Shan asked him not to worry. In their university, true talents are not deprived of resources. If he can enter the top 10 in the ranking, he can choose a private room in the dormitory and also have the opportunity to represent the university in the national competition. He asked, surprised, about the ranking. He understood. At that moment, Sumu tried to open her eyes slightly, stood up and said, Professor, the university is so rich, and the dormitory rooms are designed for multiple people. It will be inconvenient for them to practice. He replied that the dormitory is a place to sleep and relax. Students can visit training rooms for free, which are open 24 hours a day. Lin Yuan thought he was lucky to have such facilities. Otherwise, he would have been quickly found out. He took a deep breath, and Zhao Shan said that if she still wants a separate room, she can donate 5 million to the school. Lin Yuan was very surprised and shouted, 5 million? That's a lot. Sumu shouted that it was so little, and Lin Yuan was very surprised by her reaction. He looked at her carefully and thought, questioning who she is. Animal City University Dormitory. Lin Yuan walked to the door and thought that before conquering the ranking, he should first settle into the dormitory. It's good that Sumu decided to use the university housing. Although she has money, she can't spend it like that. An unknown guy opened the door for him with a smile on his face and asked if he was a new roommate. He greeted and said his name was Zhao Ming. His beast soul was an 8-headed snake, and he is a freshman. Lin Yuan entered the room and said his name was Lin Yuan, and he was from Zhenhai. Another guy in the room asked him if he's the talented guy. He still has a rank E beast soul. Lin Yuan asked if he knew him. The guy replied that he didn't, but he read his dossier. And he is amazing. He was eating a bag of chips and continued talking to him. Lin Yuan asked if he saw his file, but where can anyone review the personal data of freshmen? The guy replied that he has his own methods. There's nothing in the university that he, Wang Jin, doesn't know. Zhao Ming sat at the computer table and said with a smile that this guy is great at collecting information. Wang Jin said he could talk about anything that interested him, but of course information has a price. He continued eating a bag of chips, approached him, and asked then what his place is in the ranking. He realized he was an informant. Wang Jin responded that today is only the first day at the university, and he wondered how he could find the list so quickly. However, if Lin Yuan is so interested, he can provide another list that includes all the freshmen who are likely to be in the top 10 of the rankings. Lin Yuan asked how much he would sell it for, and Wang Jin replied with a smile that, since they are roommates, he would give a 20% discount, making it a total of 4,000 coins. He was about to give the card number, but Lin Yuan interrupted, thinking that he's a good informant. But where did he get such information? Lin Yuan sat at the computer and saw a piece of paper on the table listing Shen Kang, Awakening White Prison Beast Soul, 1-star Beast Master Strength, Chenmo Awakening Demon Tree King Beast Soul, 9-star Beast General Strength, Wakuandu Awakening Golden Wing Centipede, King Beast Soul, 3-star Beast Master Strength, Xing Awakening, 8-headed Serpent Beast Soul, 8-star Beast General Strength, Songlan Awakening, Colorful Glass Butterfly Beast Soul, 2-star Beast Master Strength. Lin Yuan pondered that there are many hidden geniuses in the Modu City University, with half of the freshmen already holding king-level rankings. Zhao Ming, who seemed cheerful, is an 8-star Beast General. Lin Yuan wondered about Wang Jin's strength. At that moment, one of the guys mentioned that the last roommate had arrived. The door opened, and a tall, muscular guy entered with a threatening expression, introducing himself as Song Lan. He expressed pleasure in meeting them. The guys looked at him in silence, thinking about how intimidating he was. Zhao Ming called him by name and mentioned he is this year's champion in Modu City. Wang Jin exclaimed with a surprised expression, considering it lucky to share a room with the winner. Lin Yuan wondered if he's indeed Song Lan. If he remembers correctly, his spirit animal is a colorful glass butterfly, and his talent rating is SSS. Wang Jin extended his hand to him, expressing excitement and offering a 20% discount if he's interested in information. Zhao Ming suggested having lunch together, and Lin Yuan accepted with a smile. Lin Yuan thought that his neighbors are not simple. One is an 8-star general, the other is a 2-star king, the third is an informant. They went out together, and Zhao Ming, walking ahead, expressed his dream of entering the university and feeling like he's dreaming now. Wang Jin warned him not to daydream when it's time to pay bills. Suddenly, they noticed 2 girls not far away, one of them being Sumu. Zhao Ming looked at them passionately, and Wang Jin identified them as Xu Qingqiu, with a snow silkworm as her spirit animal, S-Class, and Sumu with a 9-tailed snow fox, S-Class. Zhao Ming asked how Wang Jin knew all the details, and he attributed it to the power of information. Sumu noticed them and approached, waving and claiming they hadn't seen each other in a long time. She approached him with her friend. He reached out to her and asked what she was talking about. They had seen each other during the day but had recently separated. Sumu smiled and said yes, this is Xu Qingqiu, her roommate. He greeted her, and Wang Jin was very surprised that they knew each other. Zhao Ming smiled at him and asked if he was their informant because he didn't know about it. He shouted back that he was collecting information, not playing matchmaker. How would he know what's going on between them? Lin Yuan decided to introduce his friends and said, turning to the guys, that these were his neighbors, Wang Jin, Zhao Ming, and Song Lan. Wang Jin approached and said they were going to eat together and asked if they wanted to join. Sumu held her friend's arm, turned to the other side, and with a smile on her face, replied that no. Today she agreed to have lunch with her neighbor, so another time. Lin Yuan said it was okay, and they bid farewell, going their separate ways. Wang Jin suddenly started shouting and asking Lin Yuan how he knew Sumu. It seems they are quite close. He turned to him and asked if there's anything he doesn't know yet. If he wants, he can sell that information to him with a 20% discount. As neighbors. Wang Jin was very surprised and stunned. Lin Yuan looked at the sky and thought that campus life would be fun. 2 hours later, Lin Yuan sat on the floor in a lotus position with closed eyes, magical sparks shimmering around him. He considered that even if he wanted to relax in the dorm, he couldn't, given the strong students at the university. Long informed him of a high-energy concentration, good for practice. Lin Yuan responded that this is a free room for initial-level training, and there is a paid room for intermediate and advanced levels where the energy concentration should be higher. However, those rooms are expensive. A mid-level room costs 1,000 per hour, and a high-level room costs 5,000 per hour. Long put on his glasses, crossed his arms, and looked through the system window. Afterward, he mentioned that it's a coincidence. He absorbed all the low-level crystals, leaving only high-quality ones in the Beast Soul capsule. Lin Yuan pointed at him and suggested checking how many evolution points he would gain by absorbing a high-quality crystal. Long did so, and Lin Yuan congratulated him on earning 1,000 evolution points. Lin Yuan was upset, expressing dissatisfaction, stating that the result is the same as absorbing low-quality crystals, and he wasted 10,000 coins. Long flew closer and assured him that nothing bad happened. He still had the capsule. He put the capsule in his mouth, and after a moment a bright spark appeared in his stomach, emitting many rays of light. Long was surprised and congratulated him again for successfully absorbing the Beast Soul capsule. He gained a new talent. Long raised his hand and joyfully spun several times, while Lin Yuan looked up in surprise and asked if he has a talent count in his characteristics, if these are hidden parameters. Long continued loudly informing him that talent could increase absorption rate by about 5%. Lin Yuan responded in a low voice, looking to the side, that it's true. He feels he's absorbing energy faster. Long said that since he's there, he shouldn't limit himself to one capsule per month. He should absorb as much as he can. Lin Yuan mentioned that the Beast Soul capsule is a good thing but expensive, costing 50,000 per piece. The next day, inside the university dormitory walls, Lin Yuan woke up, got out of bed, looked around and remarked that it's only morning. But where are those two? Wang Jin, sorting papers on the table, replied that they must be in the training room. Lin Yuan realized that he wasn't the only one training diligently. He needed to go to the Beast Soul Palace and buy a batch of lower-level crystals. He picked up the phone and greeted someone who called him. The caller greeted him and asked if he was awake. He should come to pick up the money. After a while, he met Zhao Shan on the street, and he mentioned that all the crystal cores were collected. The portion given to him is 2,200,000. Lin Yuan, with the phone in hand, looked at Zhao Shan's phone and wondered how much that would be. This would solve his problem. Zhao Shan spoke. Furthermore, he exchanged 1 million for 10,000 lower-level Beast Soul crystals. The crystals and the remaining money are in this badge. He will lend it to him for a while. Lin Yuan thanked him, calling him a professor, and at that moment, he looked into his eyes and thought that indeed, Zhao Shan is someone he can trust. After that, a smile appeared on his face, and he asked the professor if he could help him with something. He wants to exchange the remaining money for some Beast Soul capsules. This money is enough to buy 24 pieces, which would last for 2 years. Zhao Shan asked why he needs so many. He asked him not to worry, and said he knew the right amount. Zhao Shan replied, okay, as soon as there is time, he will go to the Beast Soul Palace and he should train hard. The rankings will be announced soon. Suddenly, he patted his shoulder and began to speak loudly, saying that if he gets into the top 10, he will try to secure a spot for him as a representative of their university in the competition. Lin Yuan responded with a serious expression that he understood everything and thought that his goal is not to be in the top 10, but to be the first on the list. A little later, he was back in the training room, studying hard alone, except for the presence of Long nearby, who congratulated him for successfully absorbing nuclear radiation, earning 1,000 evolution points this time in just 10 minutes. Lin Yuan continued to sit in silence with closed eyes, but suddenly, he asked if it was due to the 5 reward capsules he absorbed. Does that mean not only does the air energy absorption rate increase, but also the crystal assimilation rate? Long responded with a surprised expression that honestly, he himself isn't sure. When the professor sends a batch of capsules, he'll be able to check. Lin Yuan gripped the purple crystal in his hands and shouted with a threatening expression that, yes, they will continue to absorb the crystals to increase their strength. Time passed. Days followed mutually. Sometime later, a few days after, Lin Yuan entered the dorm room with a shopping bag in hand. His neighbors were all in the room, facing each other. Lin Yuan entered and asked if today is a special day, because everyone is here. At that moment, he thought that normally, these 3 leave early and return late. Well, except for Wang Jin, who collects information all day. Wang Jin told him that today is the freshmen's meeting. He was so engrossed in training that he forgot about it. Lin Yuan exclaimed with a surprised expression that he really forgot. Wang Jin smiled and shouted that the three of them are training like monsters. They really want to be in the top 10. Zhao Ming retorted, "Come on. With his 9-star general, he can only get in the top 100, but Song Lan with his strength will surely get into the top 10, right?"
If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and like the video. Thank you.